Hi everybody, my name is Nick. I look after the tech and some of the strategic things that we do at the WeCommunities, and I'm here at Daniel's Healthcare with a couple of friends who I'd like to talk to you about some exciting stuff that we've been doing with them. You'd like to introduce yourself, guys?
Hi, I'm Eric Lanyon. I'm Commercial Director at Daniel's Healthcare. I tweet at Ekaboy.
And I'm Dee, I'm the Marketing Manager and I look after the customer support team at Daniel's, and I tweet as AD Ward and as Daniel's H Care Ltd.
So I'm not sure how many of you will know much about Daniel's Healthcare. Maybe one of you could tell us a little bit more about yourselves?
Shall I go first, Dee?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, Nick, Daniel's Healthcare, a manufacturing business based here in Kidlington, just north of Oxford. We've been going since about 1939. We're a small medium enterprise. We employ about 96 people from the local community. We make and distribute plastic injection moulded containers for the healthcare market, and primarily sharps containers. Containers that provide safety for healthcare professionals, for doctors and for nurses. We're a traditional business, but we also like to think we're an innovative business.
Yeah, that does sound quite traditional, and we're here to talk about social media, so that's kind of an interesting little segue. Okay, so you said you're quite a traditional business, you've been around quite a long time, you're in manufacturing, and here we are talking about social media with a community of upwards of 100,000 tweeting healthcare professionals. Social media for you, that sounds like there might be a story behind a bit of a journey there to get us to where we are today. Is that something you could share with us?
Well, I suppose, go back, I think it was about 2011, I was aware of Twitter. I think at Ekaboy existed at the time, but I didn't really know what it meant for Daniel's. And I was listening to different people out in the marketplace and listening to experts, innovators in the field. And I came back one day, having been to, I think it was a conference or something like that, and I came to Dee's office and I said, "We're doing social media. What are you going to do about it?"
Excellent.
And I remember Dee looking at me with a shock horror on her face and said, "No, we're not." I'll hand over to you then.
Yeah, to say no we're not was an understatement, because I didn't get it and it was something that the youngsters did, and certainly not something that I felt that it would benefit Daniel's doing. I didn't get it, and I didn't think our customers would get it and anybody else would get it. But Eric being Eric, just sort of, no, want it to happen, go away, make it happen. So we got introduced to a guru who came along and held our hand every which way, got it into it. And in my true fashion, if I'm going to do stuff, it has to be done, everything, all out, and started to get it. Yeah, to the point of understanding the sharing and the learning and experimenting with different groups of people and coming across we nurses.
One of the things, the early thing we got, Nick, was that we've been very fortunate. We've got a lot of very good customers out there. We have a very good relationship. We're very fortunate to be market leader in our area. And, you know, what we were thinking and talking about is, you know, their lives are changing. You know, social media is impacting on their lives, how they communicate. And we wanted to make sure that we carried on communicating. Yeah, we weren't going to stop going and have a cup of tea and meet for a coffee and do the training and the support, the auditing. That wasn't going to stop. But what we also wanted to do is really understand what they're saying and what their network's saying. So we didn't know where to start. And I suppose the first thing we did, and you were great at this, we tried doing it. Yeah. We tried things. We tried to be innovative.
We got involved, our first big breakthrough, I think, was at the IPS conference going back to 2012, I think it was, when we'd heard about running Twitter falls and Twitter schools, and we knew that the IPS were trying to embark upon and get the IPS members involved with social media activities. So we went all out for it, and we organised at the event at the conference to do a tweet or Twitter fall, and it was just amazing, the interest that we got, and we were really keen and interested to see how people really wanted to get into this whole social media thing, but like ourselves didn't really understand it and didn't know it, and just with a little bit of learning, a little bit of sharing, it just soon became an obvious tool for communications and sharing information generally. So we went from there, and I think we had a meeting with Teresa at some point from WeNurses.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you're a 75-year-old organisation. We were a 2 or 3 year old, not quite an organisation. So what drove you to kind of contact Teresa and?
Yeah, I remember in the early days, and it wasn't, searching back through some emails, it was way back in 2012, April or something like that, or 13, and just thinking, gosh, there's this person out there that wants to do and achieve the same as what we want to do and achieve, and there just seemed to be some sort of synergy between what you were trying to do, or WeNurses were trying to do, and what Daniels were trying to do. We were all sharing a similar space, and I just thought, and talking to Eric, that there has to be.
She did the same I did. I went into her office in the first. She came into my office and said, Eric, we've got to work with WeNurses.
And it was just, you just know when something is right, when there is something between the two people. And Teresa and I met at King's Cross, and we hadn't met before. We'd sent lots of emails back and forth. I think we both sat there, and it was just sort of like, I don't know how we can help each other, but I'm sure we can at some point in the future, because our desire and understanding of how to get people into it all was something that we really shared, I think, as an interest.
So I think what's interesting about that time period is we as supporting healthcare tweeters were very aware we wanted to be independent. We wanted to have the flexibility to have the community drive what we did, what we spoke about, and we wanted to be as independent as possible. And I think the exchange of conversations over the last couple of years have been quite interesting, because you've been very keen to work with us, and we've been very keen to accept any support that we can get from an appropriate place, company, organisation, funding, that kind of thing. And I think what's really interesting is that we could only progress this space as far as we could on our own, and it's been really wonderful to progress that 2-3 year conversation around you wanting to add value to the space, both as an organisation who is in the supply chain, as well as making sure that there's role modelling to be done and there's connectivity to have. Obviously in the IPS environment it's a natural fit for you guys. They're a very vocal and supportive bunch of specialist nurses and specialist practitioners, so that makes perfect sense. So it kind of brings us on to what we're here today to share with these guys is talking about the launch of Mywe, being a piece of technology on its base roots, but I think it really embodies some of the things that we have in common around making it easy to connect and share and identify with each other. So I think the first thing probably I need to say is thank you very much for that support.
That's a pleasure.
I think it's quite hard from the industry point of view to be engaging, and for it to work and not just be broadcasters of we make this widget, why don't you buy it?
So you've obviously got a whole sales team out there that are regional, working locally, supporting them everywhere. How have they taken to communicating potentially in a slightly different way, having gone through that broadcast journey and probably learned from that? How have they taken to some support in using social media with the practitioners that are out there?
I think it's fair to say that, like in so many industries and beyond, not everybody gets it. We've allowed everybody to have their own space if they want it. A few have absolutely got it and shared it and have seen the benefits.
I think the thing that our sales force they love the conversation with customers. And initially they thought the conversation had to take place in front of them. What they're easily getting now, and some of them, is that you can have that conversation in this space. And it creates that conversation when you're not in front of the person. And when that person is not available for appointment, they're busy, but they might have 5 minutes. And many of the tweets I get from customers, if they've got 5 minutes, they'll send me a direct mail or they'll send me a message. And then you can carry that conversation on when you're less busy. So you can keep that conversation going. And that, for us, we don't want to tell people about our products. We want to have conversations with our customers. So we might ask a question, or they might ask a question, and it builds a conversation. And then it builds a conversation within their network.
Yeah.
And that helps us learn, and hopefully, in the same way, it helps their network know more about us and where we can bring value.
I think we see something very, very similar with the healthcare professionals tweeting. It takes a certain level of value to look beyond the technology that you're using, and all of a sudden a penny drops where actually there's people behind Twitter, there's conversations behind Twitter, there's learning to be had. So it's very interesting to hear the fact that that's emulated in the world that might be quite foreign to our healthcare tweeters, but to see some of the probably the awkwardness and some of the barriers that you guys have faced and probably are facing with some of the teams. So that's a really valuable insight. Thanks for sharing that.
Welcome.
So you guys are becoming more and more active in Twitter and in social media, and it's fantastic that you've been able to support us to move our technology and our community growth and connectivity together. Whilst you're in, what is it that you feel you can give to the healthcare tweeters out there while you're tweeting away?
Okay, well the biggest thing we do is we listen. I think what Twitter enables us to do is to listen, to be able to understand what the real issues are. And interestingly, with all the different groups and discussions that do take place on Twitter via the tweet chats with We Nurses and others around, it's always interesting to see even the people that we thought we knew and loved really well have got interests beyond what we knew about them and that we're understanding.
By listening to understand what the issues are. I suppose if I said to you, Nick, tell me what the perfect sharps container was and the perfect service, you'd sit there and you go, well, I don't know. But by listening to the issues like time constraints, the design of wards, what's going on in people's work lives and outside, you can put those together, you can listen, and then you can move the process forward so we can be innovative and we can give products that actually make a difference rather than just products that we think are going to work. It's a two-way process. We've got to understand from our customers the things they like and things they don't like of what we've got, but also how their work environment is changing.
So you see it's quite a two-way value exchange, really.
Yeah, very much so. I think one of the interesting comments that I had from somebody fairly recently about Twitter and social media space was if they've got an issue or a product problem or need to know something, whereas at one time they would have gone to the library, then more recently they might have gone to Google, now they don't bother, straight on Twitter and ask the many myriad of people that are in the Twitter environment, and inevitably the answer or a direction will come.
And I think also in this space, well, just by listening and engaging with our customers, you're hearing about their whole role. You're hearing more about than just when they use a sharps container. And that's important to us because, you know, sometimes when you're trying to push the boundaries and make changes and develop things, you don't just want to hear about the actual product, you want to hear what's going on around it.
Well, I think it's great for you guys to be able to share that. I think there probably is still some uncertainty about healthcare professionals engaging with brands in the space, and I think it's really interesting to see the value that you feel you'll be able to bring back by tweeting alongside and sharing alongside all these people to ultimately make sure that you're offering them what they need when you need it and how they need it, really. So I think that's really useful for people to be able to hear that. Thank you enormously for the support that you've given us to make Mywe happen. If you haven't managed to use Mywe yet, then do log on to WeCommunities.org and you'll find Mywe in the top right hand corner. You'll find it really quite useful to see how you have been achieving within the community. We've gamified things for those that are familiar with that terminology. Go and earn your Mywe badges going to connect to some of the people that we're hoping you'll find it really valuable to connect to. And I think one of the most valuable things possibly that the communities will find useful will be the CPD tool, and that has really helped us to sort of bring credit to all of this connectivity and sharing that people are delivering in this space. I do have a couple of small gifts for you. So these are some of our badges that we've shared recently. These are the hot off. These are the hot off the press gold WE badges. I'm reliably informed that they will get you in free to any free attraction that you go to. So wear them with pride when you're out visiting all the free attractions that you can already go to. But it's a very small show of appreciation for you guys who have really thought outside the box to work with us in the way that you have. We hope that it does allow you to engage with lots more healthcare professionals and continue doing the great work that you are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I also say that Daniels Healthcare are really proud to be supporting WeCommunity, We Nurses, and we wish you every success, and we'd like to be a small part of that. So best of luck to you and Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.